Back in 2020, I made a video about how, despite its friendly facade, Minecraft manages to be a rather scary and disturbing game at times. It's not relevant to this video's topic, though I recommend giving it a watch, since it talks about how Minecraft's sheer size and infinite possibilities create mysteries and even fear. To support my arguments, I had to record footage of random locations in the game, such as villages, forests, fields, and so on. To make it easier for myself, instead of physically walking to those places, I'd simply use the game's teleport command and input random coordinates. Just type in some absolutely random values, teleport there, look for points of interest, gather my footage, and then repeat the process. But somehow, after a while, it really got me thinking. You'd suppose that literally jumping entire continents within the blink of an eye would make me feel powerful, no? The entire world in the palm of my hand, shrunken down to a few numbers I typed into the chat box. But instead, it made everything feel so much bigger. And in return, it made me feel much smaller and lonelier. I mean, in the context of the game, these places have existed for decades, centuries, millennia even. Forests that have given life to countless creatures, oceans that have swallowed entire ships, villages that have been built, lived in, and abandoned eons before I even arrived. Temples of worship, fortifications, locations with traces to civilizations that have long since passed, scattered with languages no one even remembers anymore. A villager going about their day, a pig trying to find food, a singular pine tree. All things that have existed before me and which will exist long after me. All things that have only ever been witnessed by me and which will never be witnessed ever again. In this gigantic world, there existed all of these small stories that only matter to those people that experienced them. Too many to count, too few to have a meaning in the grand scheme of things. And just as fleeting as my experience of them was, so was my existence. Because only for a split second, just long enough to witness the smallest slice of life in history, not nearly long enough to make any meaningful impact, I was there, and then I wasn't. Minecraft is a game of infinite size and infinite possibilities. You can do almost anything you set your mind to, explore the world, slay monsters, create structures. And if one particular spot doesn't quench your thirst for entertainment, you can walk somewhere else and have the adventure of your lifetime there. But what I'd like to know is, what is all of this good for? Obviously it's a game, so enjoyment of course, next question. But what if we look at games not as a form of entertainment, but as a reflection of reality? After all, games is how humans make sense of the world at the youngest age, how they socialize, explore different concepts, follow rules, and deal with their emotions. And this never really stops either. Role-playing games are all about assuming a certain role, and people will usually pick one that fits their actual ideals and personality. Some players will gravitate towards simulation-type games, where tasks are based on real-life professions, which might sound boring, yet it only excites them. Others might prefer games in which they can live out a power fantasy, either as wish fulfillment, or to deal with a lack of agency outside of the virtual world. So games can and do give people a purpose. But where does Minecraft fit into all of this? Is it merely a sandbox game to mess around in, akin to a child playing with their toys? Or can it maybe offer up more than just pure amusement? I always try to find a bigger meaning in games, and Minecraft is no exception. It has accompanied my life for over 10 years now, and never has a single video game made me feel so powerful, yet so insignificant before. And I believe the reason for this lies in Minecraft's infinity. So, my question is, how does this infinity come to be, and what purpose does it serve? So, how does Minecraft achieve its infinity? When hearing this, you're almost definitely thinking of the infinite size of the generated worlds. And that's a good place to start, since it really is never ending. If you aren't content with a certain location, you can just walk in one direction, and after a while, you'll end up in a place that is so unlike where you started out in every way. And there are hundreds and thousands of different sceneries to explore and vistas to witness. A journey through Minecraft's world can take you from sprawling meadows to vibrant forests and monumental mountains, through freezing tundras to scorching deserts and over the deepest oceans. You'll see swamps, jungles, savannas, crawl through dank caves and caverns, and even visit fantastical places like a hellish underworld in a dimension beyond ours. In truth, unless you travel to every single part of our planet already, you will come across 10 times more landscapes than you would ever see in your entire life. And all of these locations are beaming with signs of life. Animals wander through fields, fish swim through bubbling rivers, and dark creatures lurk where no light falls. There are abundant structures filled with inhabitants like villages, outposts, and mansions. And even remnants of a time long since past dot the earth, from mineshafts and shipwrecks to monuments and ancient cities. Minecraft offers up an astonishing, incomprehensibly large world, full of adventure and mystery. And unless you're doing a challenge, such as attempting to reach the Farlands, you're likely never going to experience most, or even any significant portion of it. Even a journey to a woodland mansion, which takes several hours, will not even put a scratch in the sheer vastness of it all. However, the fact that you potentially could do it is what's important. Because the further you travel, the more you see, and the less your actions seem to mean anything in comparison. Like a growing child will eventually realize that the world is not just confined to the small walls of the house you grew up in, you too will continuously come to realize that everything you think is big already is always much, much bigger. But just being large isn't enough to be considered infinite. After all, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Elden Ring all take place in massively huge worlds, but eventually you will be able to explore them all. Even if it takes hundreds of hours, you will ultimately know every stone, every tree, every house, every NPC. And the same could be said for Minecraft. Even if it took you 1,000 years, you could theoretically map out everything. That is, you could, if it wasn't also randomly generated. So even if you were to uncover every single inch of the world, there would still only be one world. One world out of millions and billions of possible worlds to be created. And thanks to the randomness, the things that do get created can end up being very unpredictable. Like buildings extending far above the ground, shipwrecks floating above land, or structures simply ending up in places they're not meant to. All of these things, both the beautiful and the chaotic, are unique to the worlds you have created, and only you can see them, if you want to. Our Earth is 4.543 billion years old, and you can create an equivalent to that times 100, explore it, and then destroy it, all in under 5 minutes. And Mojang is very much aware of this, which is why they leaned into it pretty heavily in 2020's April Fool's joke update. In this update, you were able to create completely randomized alternate dimensions by throwing books into a nether portal. And when I say randomized, I more so mean chaotic, because these places really exist beyond time, space, logic, and reason. They can consist of weird, repeating shapes and patterns, shining in bright colors, or being shrouded in pure darkness. Impossible geometry, sometimes borrowing structures from Minecraft itself, but twisting them into arbitrary constellations, floating amongst islands in a void of nothingness. Some feel like a real place, just shaped into something unrecognizable, while others feel like new worlds forming out of disorder, receiving purpose with your presence. The most unfortunate players will even find themselves stuck in locations that are almost Lovecraftian, driving them mad with a flood of irregular colors and blasting them with sounds, robbing them of any sense of direction. And even the dimensions that were created by Mojang themselves have an otherworldly, uncanny appearance to them. Like a floor of note blocks stuck in an endless loop of random tones, a library stretching beyond the horizon, a wall dividing a red world and a blue world, doomed to never meet. Or just a lone house with a lone villager, who really just wants to be left alone, thank you very much. There are so many more places that I could list, but it would turn this video into something as never-ending as these places themselves. I'd highly recommend you give it a try yourself. I can guarantee that, just like me, you will both be overwhelmed and fascinated. It really doesn't get more infinite than the ability to create virtually anything out of writing something in a single book. And the fact they gave this update the title of Ultimate Content couldn't be more fitting. While regular Minecraft can be predictable even in its unpredictability, this goes far beyond any imagination. But what good is an infinite world if you can only look at it? What purpose does it serve if it isn't being given context? What good is a cake that is never eaten? And so, you can give them context. Minecraft is a sandbox game after all. And so you can shape everything to your own tastes and desires. Every single block can be removed, reshaped, replaced. There is no limit to your imagination but the confines of the height and depth limit. Anything in between is clay, just beckoning to be molded into shapes by your own hands. You can make anything from castles to starships, recreating what's inside your mind or what you saw in other media. From simple gadgets to entire computers, transforming what is essentially a vast array of Lego bricks into a machine that can calculate the amount of blocks required to build it. But the Limitless is easier to enjoy if put into perspective with the limited. Thus, you can choose to play in survival, where human shortcomings such as health and hunger, as well as the inherent dangers of living in a world filled with creatures that want you dead, will restrict your ability to do anything you want. And yet, you can use this to your advantage, giving meaning to your actions by giving you a goal to pursue. Whether it's just trying to survive in an unforgiving universe or exploring the lands and trying to beat the game, you have to rely on your own wits and skills to achieve your ambitions. Terraforming landscapes, gathering resources, foraging dungeons and slaying enemies not for the sake of doing so, but to prove yourself, to leave a mark behind at a place that doesn't care about your existence. But even if you decide to not venture onwards to defeat the final boss and see the end credits, you can still be content just existing in the world that has been created for you, by using what's around you to create a place you can call home and pretend to actually live there. According to YouTuber Eurothug4000, the survival mechanics of the game only benefit the so-called cottagecore aesthetic, essentially meaning living off the land in a small cottage, serving as a way to escape from the stress of working life into a rural paradise. She says that existing in a living state with hunger and health instead of a static one means that the act of eating is necessary, which thereby makes cooking a meal far more meaningful. And since cooking and baking is a large part of a cottagecore lifestyle, having these actions not be empty is another incentive for the player to take part in them. Furthermore, she adds, since crafting in general is an integral part of Minecraft's experience, it only aligns with the importance of the handmade within the cottagecore aesthetic. And even the loneliness of being so small in comparison to the endless map serves as a good level of isolation that cottagecore is all about. But maybe pure isolation doesn't align well with your interests, that you crave for company, someone to experience the joys and frights of making yourself at home in this little virtual world with. In that case, you can invite some of your friends to join you in multiplayer. Playing with my friends is where some of my fondest memories come from, not only having to adapt to the rules of the world, but also to each other's quirks and flaws. Making plans not just for us as individuals, but to get by as a collective. Finding roles for each of us that suit our strengths the best, and attempting to balance out our shortcomings. Like filling the house with too many chickens and then getting mad when I kill them, or just putting stuff in the wrong chest despite me clearly having marked them, Alex. At best, you'll enrich each other's experiences, being able to write stories together, stories of companionship and teamwork. And at worst, seriously man, it's the food chest, why did you put flowers in there? Perhaps you also crave the company of others, but don't care much for the intimacy of spending all your time together with them. That's why there is a plethora of multiplayer game modes out there, ranging from cooperative experiences like Skyblocks to competitive ones such as Hunger Games, Bed Wars, Murder Mystery, and many, many more. But maybe regular Minecraft eventually leads to days blurring together and you yearn for something more, something different, something to shake up what you've grown accustomed to. You'd not be alone in this, which is why there are more mods for Minecraft than you could count. Ranging from enhancements such as adding more creatures to meet, items to collect and biomes to explore, all the way to specialized modifications that allow you to build automata, vehicles and even entire factories. Reshaping the lands, not just one block at a time, but entire continents in a matter of minutes. Minecraft really is a game whose boundaries are so endless that they expand beyond the game itself, inspiring almost every player to share their creations, interpret and recontextualize everything the game has to offer, and even find new ways to experience it. That someone said to themselves, yeah, I like Minecraft so much that I made it so you can play Minecraft inside of Minecraft. It can be easy to get overwhelmed in the infinity of Minecraft, feeling like your actions don't matter in this ocean of possibilities. To know that you can do anything, but that every step taken is 100 ones you haven't. That each creation you've put your mind to is overshadowed by what other people have already created. And the fact that your own creations will never even be a footnote in the book of the game's history. But matter of the fact is that it's not about what you can't do in Others Infinity, it's about what you can do with it. Back in 2017, my friend Ben Drew and I played Minecraft together. We couldn't afford a server ourselves, but we were able to play on an old server owned by some members of a community was in that didn't play on there anymore. We made ourselves at home, built our base and just had a jolly good time. One day, however, we decided to explore the world a bit, which is when we stumbled upon signs of a civilization. A man-made village, having been abandoned ever since the last player logged off for the final time. I won't show all of it because it's rather intimate, but it was just fascinating to find all these locales, these structures built for specific purposes, chests full of items that were once used for certain tasks, maps and instructions for the people that used to explore these lands. But those people weren't there anymore. If it hadn't been for Ben and I, no one would have ever seen any of these things ever again. These little bits of personality, made permanent through brick and mortar, declarations of individuality, screamed at the top of the lungs into a never-ending void. How many of these worlds exist? How many stories have been written into books that are collecting dust, never to be read by anyone ever again? Slices of lives of people that have long since moved on to other things, not remembering them, not caring to. And yet, even though these people aren't here anymore, they once were. And even if no one can lay witness to the things they have created and destroyed, they did happen. Even if they have no meaning now and will never have any ever again, they did have meaning back then. So, I suppose to answer my own question from the beginning, Minecraft's infinity has no inherent purpose. Nothing of what you do serves anything, has any point to it, will make any difference. It's a game, it's entertainment, it's a waste of your time. But that's why you find your own purpose. If there's no meaning to be found, you give it your own meaning. History isn't just written for the reader, it's written by the people that lived through it. And whatever you decide to do in the game, it will be an adventure that only you, in all of those millions and billions of years, will have experienced. Whether that's building a house, defeating monsters, creating machines, fighting battles, spending time with your friends, modifying what's already there and giving it your own image, or just pausing for a bit, taking it all in and living in the moment. Whatever you do is you. It's your own choice, your own being, and no one can take that away from you. I think at this point it's become obvious that this video isn't just about Minecraft. It's about us, living on this planet we call home, drifting across an endless cosmos, compared to which we are less than a single atom. The universe doesn't speak to you, it doesn't love you, it does not even care for you. But it doesn't have to. You aren't living for the universe, you are living in the universe. And just as much, you are living in the moment. So, venture out there into this uncaring world. Maybe you'll create something. Maybe you'll just enjoy something. Maybe you will help others, or have others help you. Don't forget, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. Go and find your own purpose, because no one else but you can.